The ancestor of Yuta, Okkotsu, and Satoru Gojo is real. Yep, the three vengeful spirits that are mentioned in Jujutsu Kaisen 0 are real spirits haunting Japan. Insanely powerful, vengeful ghosts that are really haunting Japan and are causing national level disasters. This has crazy implications for how strong Yuta Okkotsu and Satoru Gojo really are, because now we know that one of them, Mishizane Sugawara, really is the ancestor to both of them. And this Mishizane Sugawara was a real person. He was already a genius at the age of 11, composing Chinese poetry, which in Japan at the time, around the year 900, was special. He was a special genius, much like Satoru Gojo and Yuta Okkotsu, a young genius of unprecedented talent. And this talent continued to shine through, because at age 25, Mishizane was already considered Japan's greatest composer of Chinese poetry and one of its greatest scholars. And at age 30, he found himself at the side of Emperor Uda. Not just that, eventually his daughter married Emperor Uda, so Mishizane Sugawara, the great scholar, the great poet, was now officially a part of the emperor's family. Eventually, Emperor Uda was tired of being the emperor and assigned his son Daigo as the new emperor. That's not the son he had with Mishizane's daughter, okay? Don't get that confused. Him and Mishizane's daughter also had a son, and he's going to play a role later. But for now, he assigned his eldest son, Daigo, the position of emperor, and Daigo succeeded him. Mishizane was still important and still by Daigo's side, but the jealousy in the emperor's court was seething. They couldn't stand the fact that this genius was at the side of the emperor. Does that sound familiar to you? Does that remind you of how the higher-ups in Jujutsu Kaisen cannot stand Satoru Gojo, cannot stand his power? Same with Yuta, whom they tried to have secretly executed. But in Jujutsu Kaisen, they can't do anything because Satoru Gojo is too powerful. But in real life, they could do something about Mishizane Sugawara. And what they did was they went after his reputation. They spread the rumor that Mishizane was plotting to kill Emperor Daigo and was then planning to install the son that Emperor Uda had with Mishizane's daughter as the new emperor, so Mishizane would gain even more power. This was all made up. This was not true, but it was a logical theory to acquire power, so people believed it. And to plot the emperor's death is a serious crime, so serious that Mishizane was stripped of all his titles, was stripped of all his money, his reputation was ruined, his family left his side, and he had to leave the emperor's court in Kyoto and settle down on the countryside, a poor man, a lonely man, a broken man. And only 2 years later, he died alone and heartbroken. And if you watch Jujutsu Kaisen, what makes the strongest curses, huh? Jealousy, false allegations, hatred, that stuff is powerful. And what emerged from Mishizane was more than a special great curse. What emerged from him makes special great curses look cute. What emerged from him was one of Japan's 3 vengeful ghosts that was causing natural disasters and very specific gruesome deaths. But now we're going to get into this part. After Mishizane Sugawara's death, after he was exiled from Kyoto, Kyoto suffered from a cycle of floods, earthquakes, droughts, and this was unprecedented. Why it was notable that a cycle of them happened immediately after Mishizane Sugawara died. But more specifically than that, after Mishizane Sugawara died, this is what happened to the emperor's court. The man who spread the rumors in the first place was struck by lightning and died. His accomplice suddenly came down with an inexplicable illness and died. Mishizane's replacement as the minister of the right fell into a swamp, drowned, and died. Daigo's second son also fell ill and died. And 3 years later, the son of Daigo's second son also died. Eventually, this was too much for the emperor's court, and they were like, yo, we gotta do something about this curse of Mishizane. So they called a meeting with the emperor and the court nobles. But the meeting hall, as they were sitting there, was suddenly struck by lightning, which caused a great fire that killed many, many, many of the attendants. Huh? And if you hadn't believed in Mishizane's curse before that, you would now. And Emperor Daigo was so shook by this, he was so traumatized that he too, afterwards, fell ill and died. The curse of Mishizane came after everybody. So after that, another son of Emperor Daigo took over, Murakami. And Murakami was like, I'm going to put an end to this. And what he did was build a shrine for Mishizane, the Kitano shrine, and he had Mishizane named the god of the heavens. And that was sort of the end of that, because that calmed Mishizane's vengeful spirit right down. And over the years since, this was in 930, in the years since, there have been 12,000 shrines built for Mishizane, because Japan doesn't want this vengeful spirit to come back. And nowadays Mishizane is considered the god of scholarship, the god of art, and the god of dispelling false accusations. And people go to these shrines and pray for good exam results, or for accusations to be dispelled, for the truth to come out. You know, that's what this god is all about. But the interesting thing is how powerful his spirit, his ghost was, and that Akutami took this and used it as an inspiration, and used it as the ancestor to Yuta and Satoru Gojo. What does this mean? How powerful are they going to end up becoming? Because this is some real strong stuff right here, folks. And if you didn't know, now you know. And if you want more of these mythological, historical backgrounds for anime and manga, then do hit that follow, because I do this every day. And if you follow, then I'll see you tomorrow. Alright? Alright.